Hi guys, Yeti is a wonderful plugin for creating fur, hairs and feathers inside Maya. And the purpose of this tutorial is to give you an idea of how the workflow looks like. So the first step is to have a clean mesh with proper UVs. Most of the time we need to create two nodes, one groom node for creating guide curves, and one Yeti node which is the main container where the grooms will be imported as well as the mesh. This is the node we'll be using to lay out our graph for generating thousands of fibers that will conform to our groom curves. To get started, I select the mesh, and in the Yeti menu I create groom on mesh. I set the initial strand length based on my working units and the minimum strand distance. Then I'm using the scatter brush for creating the groom curves and the comb brush to shape the curves. It's time to create the Yeti node. Again, I select the mesh, and in the menu I create Yeti node on mesh and rename the nodes. Before starting to lay out the graph, I need to import the groom. This is a two-step process. In the graph tab, input groom, I'm adding the groom. Now I can open the Yeti graph editor and create two import nodes. One will be for importing the mesh and the second one will be for importing the groom. You open the node inspector by double-clicking the nodes. Now we can create a scatter node followed by a grow node and a comb node. The scatter node scatters points all over our mesh, and the grow node grows fibers from those points. Connecting the groom to the second input, and the grow node will confirm the lengths of the fibers to our guide curves, and I do the same for the comb node so that the fibers follow the shape and the direction of the groom. Here I'm painting in ZBrush a density map. This grayscale image will be used to grow the fibers exactly where I want it to be. Then, I just need to insert a texture node to import the texture and type density in the attribute field. In the scatter node inspector, we can raise the density multiplier slider to have more fibers generated. And in the grow node, I've decreased the minimum length to give more variation. You can still continue shaping your guide curves. Pressing the F key while your groom node is selected allows you to enter the component mode, which is very convenient to modify the shape of your curves. I'm duplicating the tree and change the scatter value to have a lower number of fibers than the first one, and I clump the first tree around the second one. By changing the density multiplier of the second scatter node, you can have smaller clumps or bigger ones. I'm also using a convert node to convert my groom curves into fibers in the graph. Those will be used to get bigger clumps. And adding a squiggle node after the clumps and adjusting the parameters and the percentage is very useful for creating flyaway hairs. You can also set higher values for the display viewport density to get closer from the render density and adjust your graph if needed. Every node has two flags along the bottom. If the left one is highlighted, it means that your graph will be evaluated up until, and the second one on the right will bypass the effect of this node. Now it's time for creating an AI standard hair shader, connecting it to your main Yeti node, and test render as you keep adjusting your work. Here I'm adding a width node. With Yeti, you can display the roots of each groom curves and paint attributes for each one of them. You can create as many attributes as you want to control any parameters in your graph. You just add an attribute node in your graph, connect the groom to the second input and type the name of the attributes you've created and sample it from the groom. So now you can multiply any parameters by this attribute. Here I'm multiplying the width. If you want to make an animation, you need to turn on simulation in the groom node. Adjust the dynamics properties and add your mesh in the collision object tab. You have to select your mesh and create texture reference object and hide this reference in the outliner. Now you can create your animation. Thanks guys for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. See you next time for in-depth and step-by-step videos.